Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. In today's video, we are playing King Arthur's Legends Rise, the sponsor of the video. And if you guys want to check out this game, make sure you guys check out the link in the description and the pinned comments below. Use the link to download the game and make sure you guys check out King Arthur's Legends Rise. That's going to greatly help support the channel, and I really would appreciate that. In today's video, we will be talking about some pitfalls that early game players do fall into, at least I fell into as I was climbing through the early game, and I'm going to highlight some of those areas so hopefully you guys don't make the same mistakes that I did. Let's jump right into it. All right, so first things first, I want to highlight this area here in the restricted area, this forbidden dungeon. So forbidden dungeon here, this is something that you should probably do every day. So as you climb here, you get access to rewards. And of course, one-time rewards you'll get as well once you hit like certain milestone levels. But make sure you guys climb as high as you can, regardless of what kind of champions you have, what kind of team you guys have. Because once you reach the basically the maximum that you can clear, you can auto farm this the stage, which is really nice. So for example, I was kind of stuck on 37 for a while. Merlin's really tough to deal with, but I cleared it manual, of course. And now I can basically auto clear Merlin all of my tickets every day. So until I'm strong enough to bypass the next level, the 38 level, I'll just auto farm 37. So here I click auto clear, click the 4 tickets here, click auto clear, and boom, you get all the stuff right away. This is really good because it just basically gives you, free resources, right? So it's really nice and easy, of course. And ideally you work on this area every day, Forbidden Dungeon. Try to climb like 1 level or 2 level. It gets really hard at some point because you really need to progress your champions. But at the very least, just auto battle, collect these rewards, and duck out. All right, so the next little pitfall that I think people would fall into, at least I did in the beginning a little bit, was crafting gear. This relates to crafting gear. So first, equipment crafting, right? So once you hit this part, it's actually a really good system for King Arthur's Legend Rise, especially for the early game player, because sometimes you can't clear certain dungeon levels and you need gear. Well, crafting is a great spot for it, right? Because you're going to be bound to collect some of the materials along the way, just playing the game, and then you can craft whatever set you want to craft. So my recommendation is that you want to craft sets that you can't actually farm in the game. So one of the strongest sets in the game is actually the Vigor set. So Vigor set, it gives you an extra Vigor, allowing you to use your more powerful abilities, which is really good. So the Vigor set usually best on like a support champion, for example, that doesn't need to do damage, right? For example, just because it doesn't give you like, any additional damage stat, right? It just gives you Vigor, which is, of course, is important, but if you have a damage dealer, you want damage stats. So I would say craft a Vigor set using your crafting material here in the forge, instead of crafting gear that you can farm in dungeons. So for example, in the beginning, I was kind of crafting up like attack, crit, speed sets just to complete the sets because I needed, to complete the sets. But in hindsight, I probably should have just farmed the dungeon that dropped those pieces of gear instead of wasting crafting materials with those sets in the forge, right? And save those materials for the Vigor set, for example. So I just want to make sure you guys are aware of that. Another mistake I see people make is actually neglecting their building upgrades. So the steel mill and the lumber yard actually, they generate steel and lumber, but you actually go through quite a bit of steel and lumber just by, for example, crafting or upgrading your other buildings. They don't provide like crazy amounts of resources, but you know what? It is passive resources. And once they're like higher upgraded, they actually provide a decent amount on a daily basis. So if you play this game pretty regularly and you check in on some of those upgrades, you check in on those buildings frequently, you're going to get some pretty good amount of resources from them. So make sure you guys keep up with your building upgrades, especially the lumber yard and the steel mill. I mean, but that doesn't mean you should neglect things like the market either, or the forge, because another mistake here that I see is people not checking the markets as frequently as they should. You should definitely check the markets every day. So for example, the purchase equipment, this equipment market, you can get some pretty cool goodies here. You can't buy them all. That's the thing. You cannot buy them all because they all cost gold, and that's the probably that leads into the next thing. But You get some cool things here, like for example, like this belt, this steed's belt. You won't be able to, you know, craft one unless you can farm some of the steed stones, right? So for example, this 4-star belt might actually be really strong for your account because you can't actually farm any of the stones to craft your own. And only costs some gold, right? Which is farmable relatively easily. So here, you know, make sure you also have a free refresh here. So make sure you guys get that refresh in. I don't recommend paying any gems for any more resources, any more refreshes. But yeah, you can check out some of these other items. Look, here's a Steed's Fortitude belt. I think I need one. So I'm just going to double check here. It's also on discount. So I just double checked. Yes, I do. So thank you very much. Picked it up. You know what? And that's the strongest belt I have for the Steed faction, right? So, you know, the market's really good here, especially the relic one. We can also check out the other markets. So again, don't neglect these areas. Make sure you just bake them into your daily routine. So for example, you really want to check out what you don't have a lot of and then see if you need to get any of those. For example, like some of this green polishing powder, I was pretty low on earlier, so I had to pick some up as well. Otherwise, like this stuff is pretty easy to get, the XP stuff, not a big deal. Uncommon Tome of Frost. Something like this I don't see very often, but I'm not sure if I actually need it. So I have to double check on that. So I just double checked and I'm actually looking for rare Tomes of Frost, not the uncommon ones. So always good just to double check your roster, see exactly what you need. But anyways, oh, Tome of Flame, a rare one. So I'm going to pick this up. Don't get a lot of these tomes. I'll pick that up. You can see how much you have here. I had 0. So I'm going to pick up that one here. And then you can just refresh for free. Again, don't miss this part. It's refreshing. Allows you to come back in here and see what else you can pick up. Anything here that's actually good. Rare Relic Breath. This seems pretty nice. A little bit of gold. Uncommon Tome. So that's about it. That's going to be it for the buys in the market. But make sure you guys check that out. Don't forget that on a daily basis, actually. All right, so moving on. Make sure you guys jump into the Coliseum once in a while. Make sure you guys do whatever battles you can. Just because even if you lose, it's going to refresh. Make sure you use your refreshes every day. Make sure you use your battles every day. And then just climb as high as you can. You do get some free goodies along the way. And it doesn't really cost you anything other than time. So for example, if you're just taking a break from the game, looking for something else to do, just hit up some arena battles. Try to climb as much as you can. Use up your daily refreshes. And like I said, even if you lose, you're going to get a free refresh out of it. And make sure you do at least a couple, right? Just bake it into your daily routine. You see here, I'm pretty low. I'm pretty low right now. I'm kind of, you know, just outclassing the other team quite a bit. But yeah, just do a couple of these. You'll pick up like the, I think the daily achievement as well. And yeah, pick up the easy fights. Make them quick and painless. Get some free goodies along the way once you hit the higher tiers. But definitely don't neglect this area for sure. You don't need to be like top tier or anything, but definitely don't neglect this area. There is a shop as well, so you can definitely pick up some goodies here. So for example, you know, pick up the normal stuff or pick up the special summons. The special summons are pretty nice. So usually I go for these ones. Pick those ones up here. There's some, yeah, you can go for some of these guys as well. I believe they only show up here. They only show up in this arena shop. Energy is actually a good idea too. You can pick those up too. I usually just bank it up. But yeah, an extra little bit of stamina, sorry. Very nice. Yeah, definitely don't neglect the Coliseum. All right, so next point I want to point out here is actually summoning. So at the lake, this raid up summon, I think, if you're a, you know, if you're a basically no spend player, I think I've heard some conflicting information or, you know, ideas, but I think trying to save up the 60 of these raid up summons to try to get a 50-50 chance at the feature character, I think that's probably not the best bet, just because I think the time it takes you to save 60 is pretty significant. And in that time, you're losing the opportunity of pulling something of impact. So it's probably more impactful for your account to maybe pull those raid up summons earlier instead of holding out for 60 for the guarantee. Just something to consider. I think it makes sense, but I've heard some conflicting information a little bit on that, but something to think about when you guys are summoning. As for the special summons, you can kind of see that you get a guarantee after 60, and there's no time limit on this, whereas there is a time limit on this. So it's very difficult for you to get 60 in this time limit, so it's going to take you a long time if you're not a big spender. But yeah, I would say pull them as you go, and then see if you can pick up something to help out your account. All right, the last thing I wanted to touch up on is the adventure mode. So the adventure mode here, I want you guys to basically take your time through each of these chapters if you can. So what happened to me was that when I went into the adventure mode, when I completed each chapter, my percentage was actually really, really low. So maybe like 50% or something, because I was rushing through, which meant I was basically leaving a lot of resources on the table. In this case, I had to go back and then redo the adventure mode. So you can kind of see here, I'm pretty close to 100% on most of them. Most of the chapters, I cannot complete one quest, and it's usually the faction specific quest where you have to defeat a boss encounter with just certain champions, and my roster is just not big enough or developed enough to finish. So I'll come back to those and finish those eventually. But it's always a good idea to try to be as complete with this as possible so that you can scoop up all the easy rewards. At the same time, the adventure mode is it's a good change of pace from the rest of the game. So if you want to just switch it up from playing the normal game, this is a pretty good escape from all that. Anyways, folks, that's going to be it for the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Once again, thank you so much to the sponsor, King Arthur's Legends Rise. And if you guys are interested in the game, like I said, make sure you guys click the link in the description or the pinned comment below. It does directly support the channel, and I would appreciate it. Make sure you guys check out the game. It's super fun so far for me, and hopefully it will be fun for you as well. So make sure you guys check it out. Anyways, thanks for watching the video. Have a great one, and I'll see you guys in the next one.